Lagos State in general, we've been to the State House of Assembly. They have been very receptive. The way we expect the government to be receptive, you are there on our behalf. When we come to you, engage us, talk to us, let us know what you can do, what you cannot do.
So what did you see?
Really
what did you see that's quite different from what obtains here in Lagos when you visited Borno State?
Well, for starters, when I visited Borno State, you know, there's a war going on. There's an insurgency going on. So it's more like a military camp. They have a lot on their hands. They themselves are targets of the insurgents. So it's not just the citizens. The police are targets. The soldiers are targets. So the work there is being coordinated at the governmental level. The Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development has a humanitarian committee, and it has a child protection committee, and it has all those stakeholders come together with the NGOs, civil society organizations, aid organizations, to sit down together. They have a plan that a humanitarian plan that they are pursuing. They engage there. So there are communication channels that have been set up there. And I don't see any resistance. Everybody is very cooperative because they are right there in the heart of where everything is happening. And you know, we need to work together to protect ourselves, to get through this situation we're in, and to try and prevent it from ever recurring.
So if all these demands you put out there are met, corruption is taken care of, and the Chibok girls are found, and all those have been captured are released and found and rehabilitated, would the Bring Back Our Girls group shut down?
Yeah. We're there for a purpose. Once that purpose has been achieved, I live in Lagos. So for nearly 3 years, every Saturday afternoon, I'm at a sit-out. If I'm in town, I'm at a sit-out. We're speaking, we're chanting, we're singing, we're getting updates, what's happening from each other. Members of the Chibok community in Lagos join us as well. Do you know what Lagosians normally do on a Saturday afternoon? I used to do those things. I've forgotten. I would like to go back to doing those frivolous things that we do in Lagos on Saturday afternoon. Naming ceremonies, weddings, enjoying ourselves. I'd like to go back and do that. I've sacrificed that, not just me. So many people, it's a big movement. So many people have sacrificed that for almost 3 years. That just shows you how serious we are.
And I also see that internationally it's also getting more and more support, just as it started in 2014. It has only recently, Helen Habila, he was on that group in DC.
In New York.
Was it in DC or New York? But in the United States, somewhere in the United States.
Yes.
Tell us how the influence of some of those notable speakers, notable Nigerians and non-Nigerians who are still on the cause of this, of the missing girls, is affecting government's drive in making sure that we rescue or release the other girls.
Actually, you're right. He was the speaker in Washington, D.C. on Saturday at the event. The event marked the 1,000 days. It's had a tremendous impact. Before the Jonathan administration even took us seriously, it was when there was an international outcry. And that international outcry came from Nigerians in diaspora also getting up and writing to their representatives in Washington, D.C. and marching in New York on the embassy. So without that external pressure, we probably wouldn't have gotten as much traction. And we need to continue that external pressure. Nobody, government wants to be embarrassed. As citizens internally, we are making demands of them, but they tend to shrug us off. But when externally, you're getting external pressure, when you have diplomatic meetings, and one of the agenda items is what is happening with the Chibok girls, the Bring Back Our Girls, it keeps it as a government priority. And we want them to prioritize the Chibok girls because even though the army are doing a fantastic job right now, and we hope they can continue in fighting the insurgency, we also want them to prioritize rescue and preservation of life in their operations, not just going to defeat the opposition, but in a way that will protect the lives of the innocents that are amongst them.
Now, Habiba Balogun, we'll come back to you and we'll close on looking at the daily programs that you have, because I understand you now have a daily objective when you have your normal protest or sit out. That will be when we return. So you take us through that before we leave. Stay with us. I'll close a moment with Habiba Balogun, the coordinator of Bring Back Our Girls here in Lagos. Let's get to know the daily theme of your event. Is it just in Lagos or nationally?
It's actually international and national. We've got 7 days of action to mark 1,000 days of captivity, because we don't want to reach 3 years. We don't want to reach 14th of April 2017, and those girls still haven't been brought back. So on Monday we started with a march for the focus on the internally displaced people, because those Chibok girls are internally displaced people. They're people who've been taken away from their homes, and some of them, you know, what the first one we found was found wandering around. And the plight of the internally displaced is terrible. Tuesday was, yesterday was military welfare. Military, all our armed forces, our police, our military, all the military, you know, they have to look after them. It's not fair asking people to put their lives on the line without equipping them and enabling them to actually do their jobs and return to their families safely. So that's a very big one. Yesterday was about corruption and poor governance, because that's an underlying factor. And even if we get out of this, we're going to get back into it if those issues are not addressed. Today it's about endangered education in general. Endangered education for both boys and girls, you know. They were adopted in a school. So it's the whole Safe Schools initiative to make sure our schools all around the country are safe. Tomorrow it's about girl-child vulnerability. So beyond the fact that these are girls who are taken, girls are also abducted for early marriage and converted. There was a case recently in Katsina State. A girl was taken there and was married formally and, you know, with official approbation, and converted without her parents' consent. In Nigeria, you shouldn't be able to marry at age 14 at all. And if you are, not without your parents' consent, and not if you've been abducted. Whoever the local government is or traditional ruler should not condone that sort of activity. So there's girl-child vulnerability. And then on Saturday, we're talking about insecurity in general in the country. So we know about southern Kaduna, we know about northeast of Nigeria. Things are happening in the southeast, in Enugu State. Some communities have been devastated. Things are happening in Benue State. We know what things have been happening for a long time in the south-south, in the Niger Delta. So there's insecurity in all over the country, and that's governments actually, that's their primary responsibility to their citizens. Why should we take some of our hard-earned money and give it to some people in the form of taxes? Why should we give our money to somebody for nothing? The number one reason we are giving them money is to keep us safe. So if there's insecurity all over the country, that's a major failure of government.
A fine place to rest it. Habiba Balogun, coordinator, Bring Back Our Girls, Lagos. Many thanks for speaking with us here on Sunrise Daily. It's a wrap on the show, and when she got talking about young girls and how we must protect them, we've been asking questions of a young man who's been going around town, specifically here in Lagos, putting leeches on girls when he attends parties and clubs. And I think maybe the police should also find out what that means. Entertainment? I don't know. A dog leech on 2 young girls, and that's how he grooves. That's a wrap on the show. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sulaiman Alede.
I'm Nel Taiwe. Have a good day.
No, definitely we'll be expecting response on that one. Thank you, Maokwe Ogun.